Hi, this is Ashmi, your trainer, and let's sharpen our microblading skills. You begin by marking the spine from the second half upper body to the lower body. Then comes the primary strokes that are at equal or decreasing distance throughout the brow. The primary strokes start at the bottom, and you have to make sure that your pressure is consistent throughout the length of the stroke. Each stroke bends more in comparison to the previous, and they all point towards the tail till the end. The upper primary strokes follow along the body of the brow before they curve downwards. Then come the secondary stroke. The secondary strokes are always in form of a couple to the primary. They either combine with the previous stroke or with the later stroke. They are never in the middle of two primary strokes. They are either towards the before one or towards the after one, and they always look like couple to the primary. Then comes the tertiary strokes. The tertiary strokes fill in all the remaining gaps and make sure that your tertiary steps are smaller in length in comparison to the primary and secondary. The tertiary strokes should not be the longest ones. They are the shortest ones. And here we have completed one brow. Let's begin the second brow, which is the right brow of the client. We sit behind the client, and hence we are behind the latex as well. In this time, now we are pulling towards ourselves the blade, and the blade is pointing in the opposite direction. The blade always points in the opposite direction. It's the two opposite forces that creates a crisp stroke. So if you're pulling the blade towards you, then the blade is pointing in opposite direction. If you're pushing the blade, then the blade is pointing towards yourself. Keep these points in mind, and if you go wrong, then your strokes will not come as sharp and crisp. See how my primary and secondary strokes are looking like couples. You will never get confused that whether the secondary stroke is in couple with the previous primary or the later primary. Now comes the tertiary strokes. The tertiary strokes are independent, although they should look like they belong to the family of primary and secondary, but they can also be used to fill up all the excessive space without having to belong to any family of primary and secondary strokes. See here in this brow, I have had excessive space, and that is where I added more tertiary strokes to fill up all the remaining gaps, and yet both the brows look very similar to each other. I would highly encourage all my students to spend a lot of time with the latex in the initial 2 months of their microblading journey. Try all sort of patterns, get very comfortable with using the blade, and ace their microblading game.